Yeah, use the one that use the one and just modify that.
Yeah. Okay, so I am in charge of the broadcast categories. There's 4. There's your 3 more traditional news, feature, sports, and then your less traditional PSA or public service announcement, which is much shorter. It's 30 to 60 seconds. For the most part, these criteria statements are pretty similar, so I'm just going to read this first one and have you guys look at the others later if you want. I don't really think there's any differences, but the criteria for judging the runtime is 1:30 to 3 minutes. And I believe in our committee meeting, we discussed YouTube tax on like a 1 extra second. Not a big deal. That's to be expected. It's not going to be DQ'd. Don't hold back on submitting because you think it might. Students enter as individuals or in pairs, as in you have a camera operator and a reporter. The package is a pre-recorded news story containing, usually in parentheses, a reporter's voiceover, videotaped shots, and sound bites. So videotaped shots would be interviews with sources, but also B-roll or just like solid shots of the people involved in the stories or the things involved in the stories. Let's see, they must have been broadcast at school or in the community, and then you get your dates there. Video may include an introduction or outro, a tag done by an anchor, but it too must have been broadcast. Or even just the reporter, they could be with a microphone doing a stand-up, either at the start, the beginning, or both. So I will say at Northwest, we had students working in pairs, and they would even edit together in pairs. So the 2 of them, if they had conflicting schedules, they could kind of work with each other and decide who's going to do what in order to meet deadline. So they might go to interviews together, they might get B-roll together separately, but then they would meet together to edit together. All right, adherence to broadcast style, short sentences, present tense, conversational, clear, contains all the necessary information and exhibits news judgment. A variety of shots are used and are steady and in focus. Editing is free of glitches and jump cuts. And natural sound is in an interesting and informative manner. Use of copyrighted materials is strictly prohibited and will result in disqualification. Voiceover is effective and delivered with clarity. I got some tips and tricks at the end that I think will help make how to do this a bit more clear. Copyrighted materials for probably PSAs more than anything. You might want to use music, but they need to be royalty-free, like sound bites. So there's all kinds of websites you can go to locate these. A simple Google search will take you to a website where you can use some Creative Commons materials. Just be careful that you're paying attention to how they say those sources need to be cited, because you still are required to follow what they have you do in terms of
That makes sense.
and then I'll just do like 4 clicks. Here are some Class B examples, and I guess I should walk you through these, but I'll try to be fast. Essentially, they're a lot like your news stories, your feature stories, your sports stories, and writing, except they're presented in the video format. So yeah. Okay, and then Class C, there are theirs. I give up on this. I think I'm just. Oh, and it's of course going to be the same thing. Good. Okay, and then here are the winners. So we've got Class A, B, and C in order, just like you've kind of seen with some of the other entries. These titles I like to think of as headlines. I probably should have had kids do this, but at Northwest, we had like a naming format for all of our videos. So I would treat them like headlines, write them in present tense, have your active verbs and all of that stuff. Or you could even do a format that's like news, colon, and then what's called like a slug or a short nickname for your video, which you can see that last one kind of does. They've got news story, colon, Aquinas wins 1 act, and assuming, yeah, state.